Joining me is GBNews' political editor, been a busy man, Darren McCaffrey, over the last few weeks. To me, the word, I think, that stands out from today, from Rishi Sunak and from supporters of the Conservative Party, be it members of Parliament or newspapers that support the party, stability. He's going to be the man that brings back, after all this chaos and disaster, the man that brings back stability. Does that mean that no policies change?
Well, things are going to have to change. And this is the most remarkable thing. And they're going to have to be, what did Jeremy Hunt call them? Eye-watering decisions in the weeks to come. And that are going to provide anything but stability. Let's be honest about this. We're going to see strikes this autumn, I think almost irrespective of what happens. We're going to see lots of interest groups and people very concerned about cuts to departmental budgets. I think when he talks about stability, frankly, it's pretty much the main reason he's been elected. There is
because he's solid, sensible.
I mean, a bit like a speech, a bit wooden, and wood solid.
I found that extraordinary.
Yeah.
He just won the contest.
Yeah, I mean, very odd. And actually, weirdly, he's much better dealing with questions, a bit more normal than in that sense. Maybe he's just a bit out of practice. I'm not entirely sure. You're right. It wasn't great. He's got another chance to do it in front of the big black door tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. But the markets, first of all. Clearly, there's a sense, I think, among Conservative MPs that he has already performed some type of stability. Sterling went up a little bit today, gilts fell, etc., etc. The Conservative Party, is it governable? Well, you know what? Frankly, he's actually done quite well in getting the numbers. I mean, there was a real sense of momentum over this weekend. He did blow Boris out of the water. I'm sorry to people who think he didn't, but he did. And actually, kind of rather conversely in some regards, I think Boris is kind of almost pantomime this weekend of travelling across, calling people up, trying to run a half, campaign, actually drove more people towards Rishi Sunak because they didn't want necessarily that circus back in town again, given where we are economically. But also he's going to have to provide stability to the country. And I say that because, a bit like Liz Truss, he does not have a personal mandate at all, really.
Which was Johnson's biggest, most powerful argument.
It was. I mean, and it was an argument that he used again this weekend. And, we live in a parliamentary democracy. The only people who voted for Boris Johnson were in Uxbridge. But there is clearly a case that Boris Johnson won the last election and his personal mandate was big. Rishi doesn't know any of that. And that will be an Achilles heel in the weeks and months to come. But as I say, this is going to be difficult. I mean, we talked, didn't we, Nigel, about 6-7 weeks ago, that Liz Truss faced one of the toughest in-trays of any Prime Minister in a generation, maybe since Thatcher back in 79. It is possible now, I think, to say, given what's happened over the last month or so, that Rishi Sunak faces the greatest in-tray maybe since 45. I mean, it really is. At every single turn, every department, there's a fire that he needs to get.
No, it's tough. And I'm thinking about party unity. Mark Francois from the European Research Group stood outside Parliament today reading out a statement that the European Research Group couldn't endorse either candidate.
Yeah. The One Nation Conservative group couldn't endorse the candidate. So you've got Nadine Dorries on Twitter essentially saying there needs to be a general election tomorrow because there's the Boris Johnson faction who will not be very happy that he's won.
But isn't the truth of it that the right of the party, or what's perceived these days to be the right, which means those that are Conservative and not Social Democrat, they're completely isolated now, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they are. They're a bit leaderless, really. I mean, Suella Braverman and Kimi Badenoch rode in behind Rishi Sunak. And Rishi Sunak has always claimed he's a right-wing Conservative, a low-tax chancellor that he wanted to be, was unable to be. And the problem for him is, even if that was true, let's give him some slack and say that was true, and obviously the pandemic put that to a side, he's not going to be able to do that now anyway. He's going to have to come in, I think, if he wants to provide his stability to the market, and he is going to have to cut budgets. It's going to be austerity 2.0, largely, I think, to a degree, whether you like that or not.
Yeah.
And also, taxes may also have to go up. And is that a Conservative agenda? But at the same time, the problem for the Conservative Party is those on the right of the party, frankly, have got no one else to blame but themselves. They had an opportunity, they had a leader, and they blew it in the space of 6 weeks, quite incredibly, I would suggest.